There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With over 140 channels in your vehicle, your all-access trial includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.
You know, when it comes to the absolute highest end premium performance marine audio gear, you don't need to look much further than the brand that's been bringing you the goods for a long time in the car audio world, and that is, of course, JL Audio. Today, we're going to dig deep into the entire lineup, including some pretty unique stuff unique to JL Audio, such as DSP. But don't go away. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be the entire session about JL Audio Marine right here on CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM, and the episode starts now. So I know right out of the gate, there are dealers that are absolutely fanatical when it comes to the JL Audio brand. And years ago, when JL Audio decided to step into the marine realm, well, they did it in the fashion that they know how to do best, and that is all in. You know, since then they've innovated, they put a lot of thought, research, and engineering into their designs and their products, and there's a lot of things that make it unique. So today we're fortunate enough to have expert Rob Haynes will be joining us today. He's a product trainer. He's going to go through the entire line. But first, let's bring on our guest here from Gemsen, who is the Canadian authorized reseller or distributor rather. And with that, I have Mr. Dave Singh.
Hey Ben, good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. We're continuing our marine sessions. We're talking about marine audio, and we've landed on one of the juggernauts, JL Audio, today.
Yeah, it's really exciting to be here talking about this particular brand. We've had nothing but phenomenal success selling or distributing JL Audio Marine for the past several years. It almost feels like decades, so to speak. But you guys are in for a real good treat today.
So let's get something out of the way. You know, JL Audio in no means is an entry-level kind of brand or product. It is certainly a premium line. They deliver on so many levels. I don't want to take the thunder away from Rob's presentation today, but those who know that JL is a premium type product and no different in marine audio. And I just want to ask your opinion. In Canada, the market for high-end marine audio, I'm guessing, is pretty strong.
Absolutely. If you look at the average cost of a boat, you know, even a wakeboard boat, you're talking the $100,000 plus type of boat. So, you know, people that are investing that type of money are not shy of investing in the good gear, especially if it is going to make the difference between having a good time on your vessel or, you know, being drowned out by the engine. So, M6, M3, which Rob will talk about today, have been, you know, the product of choice. And in fact, I would say it's the industry reference when it comes to marine. The great thing about what JL Audio brings to the table is they're not new to the marine arena. They've been doing this for quite some time, and they've got a lot of history, and they picked up some really cool tricks along the way to make their product excel.
You know, no more evident than, and even down to their marketing materials. In fact, you mentioned M3, M6. We got a video here of the M3, which is a very high performance, high value proposition from JL that I know is very popular. But let's roll the tape and set the mood with this JL Audio Marine. Let's go ahead and roll the tape. I got to give, kudos where kudos are due. JL does a pretty phenomenal job with their visuals. Really exciting, really high end again. And I think what it does, it really represents, the feeling you get when you install this quality of product into your vessel, that high quality sound. Who am I to know? I'm not the expert, but we do, however, have the expert in-house today. So I'm going to take this opportunity and bring him on. He, of course, is Rob Haynes, product trainer for JL Audio.
Hey guys.
Mr. Haynes, how are you today?
Oh, a little early here in Southern California. It's 9 o'clock. Coffee hasn't quite kicked in yet, but I'm alive.
I don't even think you need it. Every time you come on your training, you're always pumped. Please tell me, did I do justice to the brand with that introduction? Because I try to take away the key messages that I've sat in on some of these trainings and I've heard the product and I've talked to dealers about the product. High performance, high value, I think are two really important things there, but also innovative when it comes to the entire line. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Rob, overall what we're about to learn today.
Yeah, no, I think you did a great job, Ben. And Dave kind of joked, it feels like it's been decades we've been doing marine audio, and in 2 years, it'll be 2 decades. We first came out with the M series product back in 2004, and was working on it prior to that. So we're going on almost 20 years of high-end marine audio, essentially establishing the high-end marine audio market. Because back then, when we were first approached by a boat builder to do something for them, their customer satisfaction scores were through the roof across the board, except in audio. And they say, we know you're a car audio company, but you're in a marine heavy market. You know what good sound is. What can you do in the marine world? And that's really what got us into our original M650 speakers. And of course, it spiraled from there into this big juggernaut that literally, created the high-end marine audio market. Because back then it was, cheap $99 dual cone speakers. Maybe you replaced them every season or two. But we knew a boat owner would pay up to 4 times the price of something if it truly is designed for the marine market and it performs. So when we came out with M650 at a price point that did not exist, people said we were nuts. But we knew how the marine market worked, and we built a product not just designed for that market, but to last, we know the demands. And of course, it's got to sound good as well. So that's where the engineering stuff we'll talk about in just a bit really came into play with our real life experiences on the water and creating what became the JL Audio Marine brand.
Well, we're excited. I know we have different categories. So you're going to go through all the different categories within marine that JL offers. I'm hoping you touch on some of the innovations and the technologies that really separate JL Audio from other brands, and a little bit of insight maybe as to what makes it so special, especially the manufacturing side of things. I don't want to take away the thunder, but I really hope that you talk about that today.
Absolutely. Have to talk about it. I think it's a requirement of my job.
I suppose so. Well, with that, why don't we let Rob have the mic here? I know we have a presentation to go up, and we'll let you take it away, and we'll definitely circle back and bombard you with a ton of questions.
All right, sounds good. So as you see on the screen, some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is kind of what we were just alluding to, the JL Audio difference, as I like to call it, what we feel makes our product special. Then we're going to get into the M6 line of coaxial speakers and subwoofers. We'll talk a bit about our MVI DSP-based amplifiers, and then the Cool Max measurement system, which is a new tool that we came out with late last year that is a really nice measurement system that can be used anywhere. So car, marine, home. And we'll talk briefly about how we can use that measurement system in our Tune4 software in marine applications to make sure we get everything possible, not just out of the system, but listening experiences as well. Dialed in properly for the users out on the water, make sure they're getting everything out of their investment, which is always, as a former retailer, a big thing to me, to make sure our customers are happy and see the value in their purchase. So when we talk about the JL Audio difference, for us, there's a couple things. I think, first of all, as we discussed, when it comes to the marine side of things, we are a company of marine enthusiasts. When we were first approached in the early 2000s to develop marine audio speakers, we knew what the demands on the water are. We're based in South Florida, right in smack dab between Fort Lauderdale and Miami is where you'll find Miramar. And our team, they're on the water every weekend. There's always boats in and out of our building that our employees have that we're either testing or listening to stuff on. So we truly are a company of marine enthusiasts. And then when you partner that up with very talented on-site engineering and on-site manufacturing, that's really where the magic for JL Audio comes into play. And it's understanding not just in the marine world, that it has to be marinized, but it's also performing in that demanding environment as well. Dave talked about a bit earlier, we have to deal with engine noise, wind noise, the water, a lot of other factors that could affect the performance of a speaker if you just put a car audio type speaker in there. So all of our products for the marine are designed purposely designed, purpose built for that marine environment. We don't just take a car speaker, marinize it, and call it a day. Everything from how the speakers are voiced. In a store, they may actually sound a little aggressive and in your face, and we want that, knowing that aggressiveness will get canceled out once you're out on the water where they're intended to be listened to. And all of that, again, comes from our real world experience. When it comes to our on-site engineering in Florida, our founder, Lucio Proni, he's the L in JL Audio. He's still our chief loudspeaker engineer, and he's got a team of, I think we're up to 24 loudspeaker engineers now in our South Florida facility. And there, on top of just the basic design of a speaker, testing the motor, speccing materials, we also have our lab where we do extensive environmental testing. And this is one of our engineers here in front of the QFog machine. And this is a way that we can simulate weeks, months, years of different types of moisture exposure. Freshwater, saltwater, is it direct spray? Is it, salty, foggy air? Whatever the situation may be, we can simulate that in the QFog machine. And it's not just testing the entire speakers. We test the individual components. And this type of testing doesn't just stop once a speaker's done. We're still doing these types of tests on the current M6 and M3 speakers. Is there any new materials that have come out that we can do to improve the performance or reliability? If a product comes back from the field under warranty or something that failed in the field, warranty signs it in and it goes straight to engineering so they can replicate the environmental scenario or listening scenario to see why a product may have failed and what we can do to correct that from happening in the future. On top of the moisture testing, we also do thermal testing as well. And this machine here is the Thermotron. And if I remember the numbers correctly, I may be a little off. It can swing from somewhere around like 280 degrees Fahrenheit all the way down to negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit, in like a minute or something. It's a rapid swing, which is important because when you're out on the water and your speakers are baking in that hot sun, but maybe especially up in Canada, the water's still cold from your permafrost winters that you guys get up there. That water's still cold. And when it splashes on that plastic-based material that a marine speaker's grill or frame typically is made from, that sudden change can cause the molecules to expand or contract, and then you get cracking or brittleness in the materials. So we do rapid thermal testing to make sure that type of stuff doesn't happen. We deep freeze them, we bake them. Our team literally has an oven they bought off of Craigslist. It's like an oven from the 70s with just a regular heating element, and they'll literally bake speakers at 350 degrees until they rise. Dun-dun-dun. All right. Bad joke. Had to get it in. But we do bake speakers. We're a worldwide company. We have speakers sitting on yachts in the Middle East where it's 120 degrees. Lake Havasu, not far from me, on the California-Arizona border. That's hot, but you might have that cold water. So we do a lot of environmental testing for the temperatures as well as UV, which is really important in South Florida. It's pretty much summer all year long, intense UV. And the QUV machine here allows us to do that intense, ultra long UV exposure. In Canada, where you have a smaller boat season up there due to your winters and fall, UV probably isn't much of a concern because the boats are typically wrapped up, they're in storage, they're out of the environment half the year, if not longer. But other areas, there's constant 24/7 UV exposure, and that's where the UV testing comes in. And again, it's not just about the brittleness, but it's the fading of the material. We want to keep that premium look. There's nothing that looks worse than a faded yellowish white grill on a beautiful, white, freshly painted vessel. So a lot of work goes in, not just for the moisture, the salt, but the UV and the heat as well are things our team really does look at. On top of that, our engineering also extends to our Phoenix, Arizona, and Portland, Oregon facilities, and that's where all of our amplifiers are developed. So all JL Audio electronics are also designed in the United States, and these are just some cool pictures here from our team in Phoenix where the amps are developed. And then also from our Portland office, this is where all of our software, DSP, firmware type engineering is done. So on the marine side, the DSP chip found in our MVI amplifiers, all of the software and firmware for our marine source units in the Media Master family, the NEMA 2000 integration, all of that's engineered and done in our Portland, Oregon facility. So at heart, we truly are an engineering company. We employ more engineers than sales, customer service, tech support, training, marketing combined. I think we're close to 60 engineers across all of our different teams in Florida, Portland, and Oregon. That doesn't include all of the engineers we employ in production as well, because we build every single JL Audio marine speaker in our South Florida facility. So everything from an M3 650 coaxial all the way up to the big bad M712IB subwoofer. All of that's built in our South Florida facility. And we even have a team of engineers there that design, build, and maintain all of our production lines. Because you can't just go and buy a JL Audio M6 production line. We design and build all of those ourselves as well. But our team is very talented in South Florida. We use a mix of very skilled humans and strategic automations to really ensure a high quality product. And I love it when we're able to give tours of our facility and show the speaker production area, because the attention to detail is second to none. On top of having stations on a line with specially trained people for each location, there's detailed instructions on the screens. There's a lot of pride that goes into it. And you'll see it when you walk through our facility, the attention to detail when it's soldering lead wires, running lead wires through the small channel of a 6.5-inch speaker frame, and then 100% quality control as well. Every speaker, the final step after production, is running through our quality control booth where various tones and sweeps are played. Make sure there's no mechanical issues or noises with the speaker. It plays the way it's supposed to. And even the assembled goods, our ETX V3 pods, Vex Pods, we don't just test the raw speakers, but anything that gets assembled gets tested as well. So we talk about JL Audio being a premium brand. That does mean there tends to be a more premium price, but there's the value in it as well, because you're getting what you're paying for. You're getting a speaker specifically designed for the marine environment by our engineering team and built by our talented team in South Florida with oversight from our engineering team during the production process. And when you put all of that together, you get a product that's second to none, such as our M6 family of speakers, which continues to be the benchmark for premium marine audio speakers. And actually, I think you guys got a pretty cool video queued up that we can show right now for the M6 family. All right. Well, I always get excited seeing those videos. There's so much that we can uncover out of that. But let's focus on some of the key talking points about the M6 family. And the first is what we call our long excursion woofer design. We know in the marine environment, there's a lot of noise you have to overcome. And yeah, you can add more power to a speaker to make it louder. There's also potential drawbacks with that, more current demand, you might need a big amplifier. But another way to get loud is how much displacement or how much air can a speaker displace. And when we talk about displacement, it's not just about the size of the speaker's cone, but how much it can move as well. And for a speaker to move a lot, you have to have something that's rather large. So when you look at an M6 product, it is beefy. When we were going through our pre-production stuff the other day, Ben quickly glanced at the slides here and asked if that was a subwoofer, and no, it's a coaxial. And I laughed because I was asked that same question at an event I was at. I had one of our 8.8-inch drivers on a table, and I was asked by another vendor, "Oh, is that one of your new Marine subwoofers?" And I said, "No, it's our coaxial." So why is it so big? Well, it's got to move a lot so it can play loud. So our long excursion woofer design might make for a larger overall driver, but the output potential you're going to get from that, it is without a doubt worth it. And then when you factor that in with the multiple size options that we have for the M6 family, we have a 6.5-inch, a 7.7, and an 8.8-inch option. A M6 770 is going to have almost 50% more cone area than the 6.5-inch M6 coaxial will. The 8.8-inch is nearly double at 100% more cone area, just about over the 6.5-inch, and 50% more than the 7.7. So when you factor in almost doubling the cone area, when you compare a 6.5-inch to the 8.8-inch, plus the larger, deeper basket assembly, the more potential for excursion, the increased power handling, you can see how you can quickly get a lot more output as you move from 6.5 to 7.7 to 8.8-inch models. We also make sure that we don't, with the changes in the cone area, that's going to have an effect on the mid-range, especially when we get into the upper mid-range response. So you'll notice on the M6 models, we do have different size tweeters for each one as well. A 3/4 inch for the 6.5, a 1 inch for the 7.7, and a 1.25-inch tweeter. They're all specially coated silk dome tweeters. So you have a nice, smooth, natural sounding response. But with those and then the dedicated crossover networks inside the frame on M6 are the crossovers. And actually, I've got a 7.7 here as well. And you'll see the crossovers are completely different for them. So the 8.8-inch crossover is a different network than the 7.7. That's different than the 6.5, all based on how the speaker performs. So again, a lot of attention to detail comes into play to make sure that that very important mid-range tweeter crossover point is handled properly and that we have that nice, smooth overall response. We also have a nice assortment of subwoofers in the M6 family. We have 8-inch and 10-inch options that are available in infinite baffle, which will have IB in the model name, so like M610 IB. Or we have ones that are designed for smaller sealed enclosures, and those will have a W. They'll be called M610W or M68W. Make sure you choose the right one. Don't pull a Rob. When I was new to selling marine audio, I didn't know the difference, and I sold a IB woofer, and we put it in a box, and there was no bass. So if you are selling something that has IB in the model name, it's designed to use all the open airspace behind where it's being mounted, whether that's in a center console, whether it's up in the bow. You're essentially using all that airspace behind the fiberglass to act as your enclosure. And because of that, the suspensions will work a little differently. So just make sure you choose the right one for the application. But if you're looking for more bass, and why would you not want a lot of bass? That's really where the M712 IB comes in. And it is without a doubt a very special woofer, hence 7 in the name. Those of you that have followed the JL Audio brand know 7's an important number to us. W7, C7, well, those are kind of our top dog products. And the M712 IB is no different when it comes to being the top dog of marine audio subwoofers. This is a beast. It has twice the output potential, one of them, twice the output potential of our M610 subwoofer. So that is staggering. It can handle a ton of power. Obviously, you want to make sure it's properly braced. It is a heavy beast, I think somewhere around 35 to 40 pounds. So we want to make sure when you do install these in vessels, you do it the right way. Make sure it's braced inside the fiberglass as well, so we don't have any potential gel coat cracking or anything like that. But when you're looking for massive amounts of performance, the M712IB is second to none with clean quality bass. So a nice assortment, 8-inch all the way up to 12-inch options between the M6 and M7 family. And again, IB and sealed options depending on the application with the two M6 family subwoofers. And one thing I do want to point out, that M6-8, it does share the same frame as the M6-880 coaxial. They share the same house, but other than that, it's totally different. Different motor, different suspension assembly. They're two completely different purpose-built drivers, just use the same frame. So if you've ever wondered about that, it's not just an 880 coaxial with the tweeter taken off. We also have a full family of enclosed speaker systems in the M6 family. For tower options, our ETX V3 speakers, which are available in 7.7 or 8.8-inch options. Again, gloss white or the titanium gunmetal are your options there for the sport grills. And of course, you have the white classic option as well. Again, just very high quality looks, especially when they're mounted up to your towers. Beautiful sound. We do factor a lot of our wakeboarders, our skiers, our surfers that are being towed behind the vessel, or maybe you're just hanging out, swimming behind it. When we do our engineering testing, we will put microphones and listen and take measurements outside of the boat to make sure we're optimizing performance 20, 30, 40 feet back, just as if you were inside the vessel. So a lot of work does go into our ETX V3 series of products. We also have the Vex Pod series, which utilizes our M6 6.5-inch speakers. And of course, we do have enclosed speaker options with our M3 series as well. We do have M3 7.7 towers. And of course, the Vex Pods available with the 6.5-inch M3 series as well, if you're looking for something maybe at a little bit of a lower price point. But with M6, again, we're talking about the premium overall sound. The Vex Pods are a really nice option, obviously for anything power sports where there's a roll cage involved. I've seen them used in cars, but they're really good in boats as well. You know, maybe on some of these pontoons or boats that with a smaller deck or a smaller tower that you can't mount a large speaker to. That's a great solution for Vex Pods. We've also done testing where we've used them on wakeboard towers, but fired them into the vessel to help improve the overall experience if speakers maybe not lined up properly on the different sides of the boat. On top of these being really nice looking systems, and again, the attention to detail, making sure the JL Audio logo is in the right spot. The speakers are centered. I think there's somewhere on the ETX V3 pods, I haven't counted, but somewhere about 40 to 50 holes that go all the way around that are mounting holes. So no matter how the tower may be mounted, you can make sure that speaker is perfectly centered every single time. Same thing with the badge on the back. It's those attention to details that make sure they don't just look good, but they look fantastic and they keep that premium aesthetic to them as well. One thing at JL Audio we've discussed a lot in the past is we build purpose-built solutions. And that really doesn't change when we talk about our fixtures. And we don't sell a universal fixture kit. We sell diameter-specific fixtures to mount on your towers. And we do get asked about that. And it can be a little confusing. You got to make sure you know which is the right fixture to buy. Which diameter do I need? We do have rulers available that you can download from our support center to take the measurements. But when you think about a universal clamp, and you have a nice round tower, universal clamps tend to be more oval shaped, right? We can adjust how tall or how wide we can open it, but we can't adjust the width. So instead of getting a perfect, 360-degree grasp around a tower with a typical universal clamp, you're only getting kind of partial. And over time, as things get loosened, they get hit, you have vibrations, the boat smacking the waves on the water, that can lead to stuff getting loose. It can swing, it can hit someone, it could be dangerous, it could scratch your expensive tower. So we feel, it's always been our way. If we're going to do it, we're going to do what we feel is the right way. And that includes having diameter-specific clamps for all of our applications, whether it's ETX V3 or Vex Pod, to make sure you have a safe connection, I guess you could say, to your mounting surface. and make sure that it lasts. It's not going to cause any damage or start swinging. On top of all those diameter specific fixtures, we do sell a lot of other options as well. On the top left, you can see those beautiful brushed aluminum flush mount adapters for our Vex Pod series, in addition to the smaller clamps for those. On the bottom, again, you can see all the different options we have for our ETX V3 series. On top of just a standard tower clamp, we have swivel clamps for towers. We have surface mount clamps. We have deck mounts. We have OEM specific mounts for different boats like Nautique and Supra and other ones out there. So when you're doing your tower speakers or Vex Pods, just make sure that you get the right fixture. And if you're not sure, you can always reach out to our technical support team and they can help guide you to the right fixture to make sure your tower or Vex Pod products are properly mounted to the application that you're using, whether it's a vessel, power sports vehicle, or a car. Now, let's get into some of the cool technologies found on M6. And transflective RGB lighting really was a game changer. For years, the common way to light a speaker was to put some LEDs around the tweeter and just illuminate the front of the cone. But because of that, you would tend to get hot spots. You see the LEDs on the cone, and you didn't always have a nice overall look. So what our team was able to do with our transflective lighting system is literally line the top of the speaker with LEDs. And I have a 8.8 inch here again. And you can see on the top there, these are waterproof LEDs all the way around the speaker. And we have a patent on the cone. And with our transflective cone, it just looks like a regular cone. And what transflective means is light can emit through it and reflect off the front of it. So what's great about this is this patented cone of ours, it looks totally normal when it's not in use. But when you turn the lights on, you get this beautiful glow that completely surrounds the speaker. And I remember the first time I showed this picture in a training, someone raised their hand and said, "That's BS. That's Photoshop. There's no way lighting on a speaker looks like that." To where I actually had to start using pictures from our M6 launch at the Miami Boat Show a couple years ago, where it was at night and all these boats were lit up, to say, no, look, these are them at the boat show. This is real. Because nothing's ever looked like that. When you take, upwards of, I think on like the 10 and 12 inch subwoofers, you have close to 40 LEDs surrounding the top frame of the speaker. So when you take that quantity of LEDs with a cone that can pass light through it, you get this beautiful, elegant glow. It literally looks like the cone's been painted. They're full RGB. So with an optional controller, you can pick the color you want. You can pick the intensity you want. If you have it where it changes colors, you can change the speed of the RGB transitioning, or you can just hardwire them as well to stay on a static color that you just power on with the switch. But it really was a game changer when it came to marine lighting with our new transflective design. And it was a new approach for our engineering team. I was telling you guys earlier backstage, we've just been a company that designed great sounding speakers, but now we had to design great sounding speakers that looked great as well, which means hiring new types of engineers, commercial and industrial engineers, and work with our team to make sure not only do we have this beautiful look, but that we don't compromise the sound performance of the product as well. And I think the transflective lighting, our guys without a doubt hit it out of the park, and it's a game changer when it comes to lighting up your speakers on a vessel. Also new and kind of a game changer for M6 is our new Lux series of M6 speakers, and these will be available relatively soon. And what our team has done, this was actually a request that came in from Europe and some of our high-end yacht builders over there that use JL Audio speakers from the factory. That they wanted something sleek and elegant. When you're talking about $100 million, $150 million yacht, you want that elegant look. You want that look that you would have in a high-end home theater or a high-end distributed audio system throughout your house. And that's what M6 is all about, with a strategically designed adapter that integrates the tweeter bridge and allows us to flush mount the speakers. We now can achieve that high-end look. The frame of M6, beneath the surface there, it's covered in magnets, and those are actually rubber pads that you see on the front there. And then with those, what the rubber pads do with the magnets, when we attach the grill to the product, it looks sleek, it's invisible, it's out of sight. Those rubber pads help prevent any potential rattles or vibrations we might get from the grill once it's in place on the frame, but a very kind of unique design. And, we talked about yachts. Yeah, you can use them. That's where the request came from, but they're not just limited to that ultra yacht environment. I think these will look great on pontoons, on ski boats. When you think about marine speaker grills, they do tend to stick out a bit because usually the tweeter's integrated into it. There's other factors as well, but they could have the potential to get kicked. Stuff rolls around on the vessel and hits them. Maybe you just want as much room as possible if you have a smaller vessel. So these Lux speakers are at that flush mount lip, and you can see, it's very minimal that's going to protrude from the actual surface they're mounted to. Will free up some space, give you some more room, whether it's overhead or maybe, up in the bow or somewhere on the boat. But really cool lineup. It's available across the whole M6 family. So the M6 6.5, 7.7, and 8.8 inch coaxials are available in Lux options as well as the 8 inch and 10 inch IB subwoofers. We don't do the W series in Lux because it's going in an enclosure that kind of defeats the purpose. But for IB options, where we're using all that airspace in the vessel, the subs are literally part of the boat, I guess you could say at that point, you'll have a version of that as well. Not for the big bad M7, but you will have it for the 8 inch and 10 inch options in the M6 family. And when they're installed, they are sleek. This is a great shot here. And I'll zoom in and use an arrow to point out because they're kind of hard to see, which was the whole purpose of it, to keep that premium JL audio sound, but have that premium aesthetic those higher end vessels have been demanding and asking for years. So now you have the look, but you're not compromising the performance with a true marine grade speaker still being part of the mix. And again, for those high-end customers with those types of boats, or just someone that wants a cleaner aesthetic on a pontoon or ski boat, you're not having any compromises with the performance or the looks when it comes to M6 Lux. But we've talked a lot about premium, and I want to make sure that we talk about the M3 line of speakers, because this is great for the budget-conscious customer. M3 really is M6 DNA at heart. We've just kind of scaled it back a bit to make it a little more affordable without compromising the performance. For the most part, M3 uses all of the same materials as their M6 brothers. They go through the same extensive environmental testing. They're still built in our South Florida facility, but we've made some strategic changes that allow us to bring the price point down a little bit for those that may not be able to afford M6 products. And that's, a smaller motor assembly, smaller voice coil, so they handle a little less power. And that's not the end of the world. They're still very efficient speakers, work well on deck power or amplifier power. A 3/4 inch silk dome tweeter instead of the stage tweeter designs. So a couple key steps that don't overall castrate the performance of the product, but allow us to make the necessary changes to make them a little affordable. So M3, great lineup, 6.5 and 7.7 inch options. Again, you can get ETX V3 and Vex Pods in the M3 series. And we have an M310 IB subwoofer as well for those lower power or lower price point subwoofer systems you may run into on a boat. They do use standard RGB lighting. They don't have the cool transflective cone. That's where we have the LEDs around the tweeter that will shoot off the cone on our sport grill models. But again, really high performance. I love, what Ben said at the beginning, high performance and high value. You truly do get what you pay for with an M3 level product. I hate calling them entry level. Yes, they're our entry level product. They're our least expensive product, but they are far from what an entry level speaker is. So now that we cover the speaker side of things, let's jump into amplifiers real quick. And I want to talk about MVI, which is our newest line of marine amplifiers we launched about a year or so ago. And these are really cool because they have onboard DSP technology. And with onboard DSP technology, kind of like what we've been doing in the car audio world, it allows us to connect a computer with our Tune software program, or you can use Tune Mobile through Bluetooth. Or if you don't want to do a full-blown tune, you just want to treat MVI like an M-series type amplifier, you could connect via Bluetooth with our Tune Express app that's available on iPhones, Android phones, and iPads and tablets, and just treat it like a regular amplifier. But the nice thing with Tune software and MVI amplifiers is the potential to get in and really optimize the entire system. So that means having full EQ controls, level controls, And being it's all broken down by outputs and pre-outs, it really allows you to dial in not just the entire system of the vessel, but individual zones, optimizing the bow, optimizing the captain's chair, where everyone else is partying, your speakers. Plus, it allows us to use presets, which are essentially different systems or tunes that can be installed on the amplifier through our tune software. And through our MDRC50 push button interface, that allows you to cycle through the presets. So you could have a preset where the amplifiers or the audio systems tune and optimize at the captain's chair only. That's got to sound good there. That's probably the guy that wrote the check. But we all know Marine, it's a social environment, right? We have other people in the vessel that want to have fun. So maybe the next preset's dialed in for the center of the vessel. So it's a pleasing experience no matter where you're sitting. Or you have ones where maybe the bow is attenuated, different levels for those speakers. So you have a place where people can talk. You have presets that turn your tower speakers on. So they're on or off, depending if you're towing someone or just hanging out behind the vessel. Dock mode, sandbar mode. There's so many different system options. You can have up to 6 systems essentially installed on your MVI amplifiers, but they're just different tunes. So from a consumer perspective, that's great because not only are you now getting everything potentially out of your audio system, but now you're getting that in different listening environments as well. Whether you're full power, at the sandbar hanging out, at the dock, just in the captain's chair, you have different listening experiences based off of what you're doing. And I think from a consumer perspective, that's awesome. You know, I always want value. I want to feel like I'm getting my money's worth. And by being able to optimize your system based off of what you're doing, that's one of the cool things with MVI and DSP in general is we're not just making it sound good. There's so many other applications based off of what you're doing that we can optimize the system for as well. And what's neat about MVI and the full range amplifiers, and there's a lot of them. There's a 2-channel, 4-channel, 5-channel, 6-channel, 8-channel. All of those have onboard DSP. The monoblocks do not. So the subwoofer amps are, I don't want to call them a dumb amplifier, but I guess we can call them dumb amps because they don't have the intelligence that DSP gives us. They're a normal analog amplifier. And the reason we did that was we have added an extensive amount of pre-outs to the MVI line of amplifiers, all that have DSP-based technology. So whether you have an MV monoblock amplifier, or maybe you want to add a DSP to an existing system, you can actually connect M series, MX series, the MV monoblocks, any amplifier that doesn't have DSP, you can connect it to the pre-outs of MVI, which do have DSP. And by tuning the pre-outs, we're essentially blessing that dumb amplifier with DSP intelligence and that next level sound by optimizing the signal going in. So that's really kind of neat, the flexibility that MVI opens up, not just with it across the MVI family, but adding DSP to more traditional analog amplifiers as well. They're, of course, very efficient amplifiers, very key for the marine world. I was actually watching one of the sessions yesterday where they were talking about, batteries and maintaining your electricity on the vessel. So, we don't want the amps to kill the batteries. CTO's expensive, and you're probably going to wait a couple hours for them to come out and get you. So with our next D2 switching technology, we've ramped up the efficiency level of the amplifiers. We use the DSP, new circuit board designs to not just reduce noises and interference that is very common in a vessel, but to make sure that they play nice with the charging system and the battery banks on the vessel as well. Of course, when it comes to tuning DSP, we always recommend you should never tune by ear. And last year, we did come out with a new measurement system called Max. And Max is really neat. This is obviously a picture of it being showed to tune our company Jeep, but it can be used in any environment. It is truly a standalone professional grade measurement system that is integrated with our Tune4 software. So, this setup here with our mic array with the 5 microphones, that would be an ideal if we were tuning just the captain's chair. But what's great is we can actually break those mics out. And if you have multiple, tripods or mic stands, we do sell mic extensions. You can put them in different areas of the vessel. So we can have it where if we're tuning the entire vessel, you put a mic in the center of the bow, a mic or two in the center of the vessel, maybe a microphone behind the boat. And by doing that, we can get an average of the entire listening system through our measurements, and then make appropriate changes to the DSP as well through our Tune 4 software. Tune 4 is what we use to not just adjust our DSP-based products at JL Audio, but that's also where our measure tab and measurement system is built in. And this is just a cool little picture. On the bottom, it shows an RTA measurement, so the frequency response. What are the, essentially a microphone picking up what the speakers are playing. If you wanted to do time-based measurements to make sure speakers arrive perfectly at the same time, that's what the top panel is. Those kind of lines you see going down to the right, that's a phase wrap. That makes sure we can align speakers properly. And again, truly make it a next level sounding system. But our Tune 4 software will work also with a USB microphone. You don't get all the cool features you get with the Max measurement system, but for a basic type of DSP tune and measurement, with a USB microphone, you can put it in the center of the vessel. You can take an RTA measurement or a spectrograph measurement, and of course, make any adjustments to the DSP as needed. What's cool with Tune 4, especially when you tie it with our MVI amplifiers, is that they're tightly integrated. And what we mean tight integration is on top of all the cool measurements that you can see with our Max measurement system, with Tune 4 or with Tune 4 and a USB microphone, but we have micro automations as well, such as auto EQ to target. So if you don't know what changes you need to make to your EQ, we have an automation that will look at a target, look at what the microphones are picking up, and make the appropriate changes as needed. We have our delay finder that allows you to quickly and efficiently get speakers lined up, so they should arrive at the listening location at the same time. And again, you can do those automations with Max or without Max using a USB microphone. But if you want to get into the time-based measurements, other advanced types measurements, that's really where Max comes into play. And I think Max is good for a installer doing a lot of marine DSP tuning, because you can break out those microphones into different areas. And we talked about using presets, the different listening scenarios. And it helps having multiple mics spread out, and Max will definitely help do that. But the beautiful thing, the Tune 4 software, it's free. So, with a $100 USB microphone, you can plug into Tune 4. You can take RTA measurements. You can auto EQ an MVI or VXI amplifier. And then if you want to go even further with the tuning capabilities, that's where Max will come into play. But really a game changer when it comes to marine audio, taking measurements on the boat and optimizing those amplifiers. So, and don't forget about the traditional, again, MVI, that's our premium. That's like M6 of the amp family, but the M series, they're tried and true. They've been around a long time for a reason. And that's just because they work. Analog controls, so very easy access, easy to get to, again, very efficient. And of course the MX family for those applications, maybe personal watercraft, off-road vehicles, smaller vessels where you don't have room for a full-size amp. These are very small, IPX6 rated, weatherproof amplifiers, sound great, easy on the charging system, and very easy to work with. So don't forget about those guys as well. They're very popular amplifiers if you're not looking to get into the DSP side of things. And that's what I got for today, guys. So what questions do we have?
Hey, Rob. I got to tell you, sorry, I'm just sorting. I'm just sorting through my notes here. Sorry about that. First of all, tremendous job on the presentation. I mean, man,
thank you.
It shows that this is what you do for a living. You're so smooth and clear and concise and draw great examples. I really wanted to point that out. So great job on that. Thank you. Yeah, so I've been busy writing. So let's get to it. I'm going to start back from the beginning of the presentation. A while ago, I had the opportunity to do one of these sessions with Manville Smith, and it was about marine audio, and he had made a reference to torture testing and everything you guys do. You went through a lot of that with the UV test and all that. But he did mention something about a roof test. Is that real? What is that all about?
Yeah, so we still do the roof tests today, but before we were at the level we are now with our engineering and production, we didn't have the money. Those are expensive machines. It's not inexpensive to buy a QFOG or a Thermatron and the QUV. So I told you, South Florida is a demanding environment. We would literally just throw speakers on the roof of the building for 3, 6, 9 months, a year. and just see what's sitting out in the daily sun, afternoon thunderstorm, evening humidity, clouds.
You mean it's humid in Florida?
Just a little bit, and then of course all that crazy UV. So that daily cycle that blows me away is possible. Was how we used to test our speakers until we were able to get the machines that allow us to do that extended testing period in a fraction of the time.
Fair enough. And Dave, I was just trying to point out, like, pretty intensive regimen when it comes to testing the product at JL.
Yeah, I agree. They go above and beyond, and there's a reason why they do it. There's a saying, pay me now or pay me later. And one of the biggest problems you have with marine speakers is the elements, dry rot, that sort of thing. And you could save some money and buy a lesser expensive speaker out there, and maybe at the end of the season, or maybe you might make 2 seasons, you'll be replacing those speakers. So the investment into going towards a JL audio speaker that's been tried and tested, especially in the rigorous environment that South Florida is going to be a really smart investment in the long run. These speakers will last you years and years and years, especially Canada, like Rob said, we don't have that kind of environment that Florida does, so we're at that benefit. But nobody likes throwing away several $100s of money every year or every couple of years, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, if installed properly, and obviously, I mean, it's marine, it's fun, the speakers will probably get abused a bit, but as long as you're smart with how you listen to your systems, amps are configured properly, they're installed right, there's no reason these shouldn't last the lifetime of your vessel. I mean, these are designed to last. It's not a one and done type purchase every season like Dave was talking
And I think
about.
the expectation of at that price point to last is there as well. But to know that all that regimen is there to ensure that, it should be very comforting. Made in USA. So I'm going to preface my next comment with the fact that, listen, this is not to bash anybody, any products that are offshore or whatnot. But for me personally, there is a value that I hold high when it comes to products of any genre and any category that is made locally. Yeah, I value that. You know what I mean? And I think at this certain price point for JL to be able to offer that as a signature, really, because I might get in trouble for this, but I can't think of another brand that actually manufactures their drivers completely here in North America and US. So having said that, being a unique feature that JL can offer, I want to commend that because there is value to that. And I could see how certain customers, especially these higher end customers, would definitely see value in that as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's always, I like talking about what we do. It's like when we started with the JL audio difference, it's always weird because I don't want to sound like I'm bashing our competition. Everyone has what they do for a reason. So I don't want to say like, oh, all the other brands aren't good because they don't do what we do. That's not the case at all. So, what we feel for a premium product and the way the company was always envisioned, Lucio, the company started with him building DJ cabinets in his garage. And as the company grew, we initially didn't do production ourselves. And we started to see the hurdles we were coming across with products not meeting our lofty standards and expectations. Our development cycle is a long time, probably a lot more than other people, because it has to be perfect. It's got that JL Audio name on it. So, that's part of it. But then when what's being built doesn't meet those expectations, that's really where the on-site production started. And with a lot of our patented technologies that we have, it doesn't make sense to then send that out to be built. So by building it ourselves, one, we're ensuring the quality. Our engineers are seeing what's happening every day to make sure what they want is the end result. But also we're protecting those important technologies and not letting them, get out, especially when it comes to the patented stuff. But there is, like when you walk through our facility, you see the pride that goes into building a JL audio speaker. It's a monotonous job. I mean, one line can build upwards of, I'm trying to remember now, 400, 500 speakers a day, something like that. It's a lot that we can build on a single line. And we have like 13 or 14 lines now. So you're repeating the same step hundreds of times a day. It's very monotonous work, but the attention to detail never slips. And, we do a lot of extensive training with our team in production. And again, the end result, it shows. And that's where that premium really does come into play. And again, not to say it's wrong to do stuff overseas. I know, everyone that's been part of these marine discussions the past couple of weeks, they all have quality partners that they work with. And again, as long as you have the right partner, there's nothing wrong with building stuff overseas, and these are built overseas and we all love them, right? Mm-hmm. So you just have to have the right partner you're working with, the right oversight, which is what we do with our amplifiers. Our partners over there, they actually have our testing equipment as the final step of production for all QC testing. So it's like we're doing the quality control tests in our backyard, even though it's over there. But having the right partners is what matters. For us, though, Lucio's vision has always been to be a U.S. company, to do as much in the U.S. as possible, use as much U.S. sourced parts as possible. And I really think that's one of the benefits of us still being privately held. We're a private company. We don't respond to stockholders, corporate banks, or people that own us. So,
when the owners feel like doing it a certain way, they're going to do it that way.
Yeah, it comes down to doing what's right for the brand. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that might not be the most profitable.
Maybe not, but it's the way that they intend to do it.
We're about great products. And
if I could just add something to what Rob was just saying, and I'll make it very quick. I've been, through the factory dozens and dozens of times. And I will tell you, what Rob says is 100% true. There is a pride there. These people, are not begrudgingly building speakers. They're not crowded around a table, trying to pound out. This is a real beautiful environment that is, the things that JL Audio does is not being done in the industry. Mm-hmm. When you look at a woofer and, the person that's putting the tinsel leads on has got a little machined aluminum jig to ensure that each tinsel lead is exactly the same length or whatever. That's the reason why JL Audio is building the speakers themselves, because, there's that saying, another saying, once again, you want something done right, do it yourself. And JL Audio is continuing to build more and more products themselves. And because of, the amount of attention to detail that's required, and that's just maybe not available elsewhere, they want to ensure that they're going to put out top-notch product and they're going to build it themselves.
Guys, time is running out, but I got two more points I want to squeeze in here for Rob. Going back to your conversation about your OEM partners and how you do develop product for him, I have a question. So the first question is at large. How in automotive, there's brands that are doing OEM upgraded packages for manufacturers?
Yes.
Everybody listening knows you open that door up and that speaker just looks like any old speaker with another logo on it.
Yes.
Right? Again, I'm not trying to bash anybody, but I'm trying to make a reference here. In Marine, that's not so much the case. It's actual off-the-shelf JL Marine product going in from a factory perspective. Am I right? Or I just want to clarify.
Yeah, correct. So OEM partners of ours do use the same products that we develop for the retail. Now with the RGB lighting, I don't think there's any one-offs either. So it should just be, and that's one of the unique things with M6 we did when it came to production. We went with a modular design. So we build what's called the core speaker, which is pretty much what I have here. And now we just build these. And then the final assembly is either the classic grill with the tweeter or the sport grill and what colored.
It's like a modular build. So you can.
Right. So now we build cores, and then based off of what demands are, we then assemble the final good. So they're the same products. It's not a watered down product, which is great because as a former retailer, I'm always careful because I understand it's a fine line when you're working with OEMs and with retailers. And the beautiful thing with the growth in our OEM business is the brand awareness for JL Audio is shot through the roof. So now when they're looking for upgrades, they're going to our retail business partners to add more speakers, add more amplifiers, and they can get the same product from a retailer that came from the factory on their boat.
Which is the question. That's why I was asking that question. Yep. It's not like some version that only is available to it. It's actually the same product.
Yes.
Which perfect.
Yeah, there might be a different SKU, we will label it like M6 something for this builder, but it's the same speaker at the end of the day. So upgrades and support are easy.
or a custom bracket or something like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Understood. Okay. And real quick, the last point I want to make is about the DSP. So the MVI amplifiers, all integrated multi-channel DSP or 2-channel and multi-channel DSP models. You made a point that they have pre-outs. So basically, you can have an older system, and if you wanted to upgrade to have better sound with DSP, you could purchase or add an MVI multi-channel amplifier, feed out a subwoofer out, for example, and go to your old amplifier and use that for subwoofers only, and now you have an upgraded system. So you don't necessarily need to replace that old amp. You could definitely change the way your system is configured. Having said that, the point I'm trying to make, when you're adding DSP to marine, which I still think is relatively new in the marine world, I think you're adding an expert level proposition to your customer. Like when you're talking to a customer who's spending this kind of money on marine audio with this type of brand, these type of products, and now you're adding a layer that he probably has never heard of in any of the shopping or research they've done, and you're coming to the table with this fancy 5-thing mic, and I'm just saying you are now presenting yourself as a next level type of expert, which that type of customer absolutely appreciates.
Oh, without a doubt. One of the things as MVI has started to roll out the last year, at the Miami Boat Show last month, we had a lot of vessels with MVI from some of our OEM partners that was factory tuned by our team with Max. And they had cool little, Max certified tune stickers on the vessels. But the vessels our team tuned with Max and MVI, the feedback on them was amazing. And we're talking about, maybe the system's the same overall design from the previous year, except now it's just been tuned differently, or we went from M to MVI and tuned it. And the feedback, the night and day for same system designs, essentially, other than DSP, was like, I can't believe how much better it sounds. I can't believe this. How'd you get it to sound good here? So all the obstacles that could be an issue in a vessel to make it sound good all throughout, we can now tackle. And again, with the Max system, it helps in a larger environment that we can get measurements and data in different areas and make the changes that are needed to truly optimize it.
And Dave, did you want to comment on that? I'm just trying to, from a dealer perspective, right? You understand what I mean? When you're offering that level, and the guys are, what are you talking about?
This is no doubt above and beyond. There's two, I like to think there's two different versions of DSP. There's DSP light, and then there's full blown crazy DSP, and that's what the MVI and VXI and the Max system bring to the table. It is, I would say there's a small selection of techs out there that have the ability to use this, and obviously our job is to grow that and make them all experts or whatever. But when you can go out to a boat like you were saying, Ben, and bring this jig and get a system to sound, go from sounding great to like unbelievable, and make money at it for charging the guy, to do that, because you're going to spend a few hours or whatever. I mean, it's going to put you in an advantage over the next guy.
Because guess what? Guys that own yachts like that have buddies that own yachts like that. That's just true.
Oh, 100%.
Right? I mean, that's
and
just the way it is.
It's always a competition, just like old school car audio days.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you didn't have Bob come to your boat and check your DSP? Oh, I did. You should hear my system. That's just how it goes. Listen, we're out of time. Rob, thank you again for a tremendous job today. Really tight top to bottom presentation. Everything we need to know about JL Audio Marine. Can't wait to have you back. I know we're going to have you back soon enough. And thanks for taking the time.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, Rob.
Bye, guys.
So lots of great tools from JL Audio, Dave, for our dealers, especially here in Canada. Yeah, you know what? It is a shorter season, but we've got some great dealers that do tremendous work. And I think if they watch this episode and understand the offering that JL has, it's certainly something to give some thought over.
I agree, Ben. I think JL Audio delivers an unbeatable sound and performance level that is considered, the reference out there. And if you haven't had an opportunity to play around with the product, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you more. Sadly, an hour is not enough time to get into all the things that make, the lineup so great. We didn't get into source units and remotes and that sort of stuff. And that's part of the lineup. Wiring that JL Audio offers.
It is a complete brand solution.
From end to end, we didn't talk about NEMA integration, that sort of stuff. We'll have to do that in an upcoming session, perhaps there's new products coming down the road that
Maybe
we can
we
talk
might have
about.
to circle back.
Who knows, right?
Wink, wink. All right, we'll leave it at that. You saw the digits below. Make sure you get a hold of Dave and his team at Gemsen if you're interested in getting some more information or becoming a dealer of JL Audio Marine. Dave, that's another good one, man. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ben.
There you have it, folks. Thanks for tuning in again to this CMA Connected session. I want to continue reminding everybody we are still on Marine Audio. We call it the Marine Audio Sessions, and we'll be going straight through till Wednesday, April 6th with one-on-one with a Marine Audio brand each and every single day. There you go. All the brands are right there, and that's what we're all about right up until Wednesday, April 6th. On that note, make sure you visit our website, cmanetworks.com. Totally redesigned. Amazing tools for you to find your content, whether you're searching by brand, you're searching by category, and yes, even if you're searching by trainer, check out Rob Haynes' page. He's got all his videos that he's done with us on our website, cmanetworks.com. That's it. Thanks for tuning in to this session of CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
Yo, roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?